Hey there! Are you confused on what techs you should learn? Are you struggling to find the main techs you should be mastering? Fear not. In this video, we'll be ranking all of the most popular techs from the absolute worst to the most goated techs that have ever been discovered. I'll be ranking based on one aspect: efficiency. D stands for bad, C stands for mid, B stands for good, A stands for great, S stands for overpowered, and goated stands for game-changing. This video is meant to help people decide on what techs they should focus on, which is why at the end of the video, I'll be hand-picking the top 10 techs you should learn so you can begin your journey on becoming the best player in the strongest battlegrounds. Let's get into it. So, first on the list is the Blitz Shot plus Machine Gun Blows tech. This tech applies when your enemy is about 30% HP or less. You can use Blitz Shot, and right after you use Machine Gun Blows, instantly killing off the player with its finisher. This tech is pretty good since you don't have to connect the two moves properly, since the hitbox of the machine gun finisher is huge, reaching up to 3 blocks. You can literally learn this tech in 5 minutes. Solid A tier. Next, we have True Down Slam. True Down Slam is most broken Garou tech. It single-handedly made Garou into an overpowered character. It essentially made 50% inescapable combos possible for him. After landing a True Down Slam, the opponent cannot ragdoll cancel, allowing you to have an easy combo extend. Not only is this tech easier to execute on high ping, it's also not even that hard to learn, making it an absolute must-learn for Garou players. One downside is that players who are at 50 ping and below will have a hard time doing this tech, but it's still possible. Goated tier. Down slam extending is an interesting one. It's where you down slam your opponent after a lethal whirlwind or flowing water and make it so that their legs are sticking upwards, allowing you to use a move on them. This tech was one of the first techs I've learned. But one thing I have to say is that you have to time your down slam right before they stand up. And if they're Garou, they can potentially peril, so you have to backdash away after down slamming. This tech is pretty useful to stall time for cooldowns, but doing this tech consistently is not that easy. Just using an uppercut makes things a lot more easier. B tier. 4M one side dash is a pretty flashy move. Nothing much to say about this. It isn't necessary, and just uppercutting is a lot easier. Although I can say that this move is harder to punish than using your uppercut. You can also catch players off guard if you manage to execute it fast enough. C tier. Vanishing Kick Extender is a very solid tech, but you have to make sure to time your M1 seconds and actually land the move. Can't really make this move inescapable even with 3M1 front dash, since that is mostly ping-based. I'm not too experienced with martial artists, but a better variant would be this. Overall, this tech belongs in B tier. 3M1 Blitz Shot Extend is basically the better version of Blitz Shot to Jet Dive. This Blitz Shot is unpunishable and does full damage compared to the enemy when ragdolled onto the floor. You can also extend this with a Jet Dive. B tier. Blitz Shot to Jet Dive is basically the worst version of the tech I just went over. C tier. Early uppercut catch is a really useful tactic for Saitama. The reason why it's so effective is because when you are pressuring your opponent to ragdoll cancel by acting like you're going to extend your uppercut, and right when they decide to ragdoll cancel, you catch them mid-air. Most people ragdoll cancel mid-uppercut, so it's really easy to get easy punishes. It's also extremely easy to learn. High A tier. Machine Gun Blows Extend is really not a good tech. It's inconsistent, heavily ping-based, hard to do, and most of the time, it doesn't even work. Just doing a normal machine gun blow to ignition burst is better. The only times this tech works is when your opponent has absurdly high ping, while you have extremely low ping. Low D tier. Uppercut Ignition Burst Extend is a pretty solid tech. It's because you save your front dash, allowing you to use it for an uppercut extender. The normal down slam variant is relatively the same. You can still save your front dash, but it's sometimes inconsistent, which is why this way is better. B tier. M1 front dash flash strike would be A tier if it weren't for the nerf. But after the nerf, it made combo extending off of the front dash nearly impossible. D tier. Scatter to Whirlwind is a good block-breaking tactic that can easily catch players off guard. If your opponent blocks when you scatter, you can still break them with your Whirlwind kick. However, this tech is a bit ping reliant. High B tier. 4M1 Shuriken Extend is a very basic extender. Nothing too crazy about it, except you can ragdoll cancel and block the flash strike. But if they don't have ragdoll cancel, it's pretty good. Mid B tier. Next tech. Sonic Triple Down Slam is a decent move that allows you to down slam 3 times in one go. This is good for stalling for cooldowns, and the additional down slam damage is also pretty helpful. B tier. Flash Strike Backdash Extender is an inescapable tech that allows you to do 2 sets of M1s, along with a Flash Strike. It's extremely high in damage, and you can potentially make 50% inescapable combos with it. It could be hard to master, but once you've mastered this trick, it would become similar to the damage of a 2-meter-1 shove extend. Omni Ragdoll Punishing is a very good tech when up against people who consistently use ultimates. It's extremely helpful in duels and public servers. This tech will potentially get patched, but this tech hasn't been fixed in more than 8 months, so it's unlikely. Some downsides is that it only works on certain ults, and can sometimes be pretty inconsistent if you don't do it perfectly, or if you have above 150 ping. Uplift Kyoto is Kyoto, but with a jump uppercut, causing the flowing water to happen in the air. This one's pretty useless and doesn't provide much benefit. However, it is easier to do the flowing water front dash extend if you're in the air while doing it. D tier. Flowing water to lethal backdash is just Kyoto, but harder. The only time I can see this being reasonable is if you have over 200 ping and can't do Kyoto the normal way, or you just want the style points. You also waste your front dash, which prevents you from doing a twisted or an uppercut dash. Very bad. One M1 shove used to be my go-to tech. I would have put this at A tier right next to 2M1 shove, but unfortunately it got heavily nerfed and now it's very inconsistent. It can still work, but it's not as good as 2M1 shove. Low B tier. Flowing water to Hunter's Grasp is a very good combo variation that can easily catch players off guard. If you completely master this technique, you can do it almost instantly. This variation is 2 times faster than flowing water to lethal and lethal to flowing water. It can be easily punishable if they have ragdoll, but if you do it quick enough, they most likely won't have time to react. Low A tier. Stun lock front dash is another unpredictable move that is rarely used by most players. This tech prevents the opponent from ragdoll canceling, like I said for the last tech. This reaches its full potential if you don't use it consistently. Overall, a very good tech. This combined with Gara's 4th M1 kick works the best. The other variants, like uppercut to side dash, are all very easy to predict. Twisted is a classic Garo combo extender. It's easy to execute, consistent, and can make easy one-shot combos. However, if the opponent has ragdoll cancel, they can easily punish your twisted dash. Hunter's Grasp 1. M. One forward dash is basically Hunter's Grasp to front dash, but with an extra M1. The bonus damage is good, but you waste your front dash with only getting a little damage increase when you could have just done a twisted or a loop dash to get 5 times more damage. B tier. 4M1 side dash shove looks flashy, but it's extremely easy to block and isn't true. If you use this tech as a combo extender, please don't. This tech is only acceptable for use if you're trolling around or your opponent is about to die. D tier. Uppercut shove is another tech that is not true and is easily escapable. If you're new to the game, this tech is not good because it launches your opponent too far, allowing them to easily block your front dash. Very bad. Consecutive down slam is a high damage tech that can be used in a variety of ways. If they're sticking upwards, you can use normal punch, or you can front dash and use a shove extender. If they aren't sticking upwards, you can use your uppercut to extend. It's very flexible tech that can make Saitama combos one shot without having to do any loop dashes. However, you can get countered if you time your down slam a little too late, and if they have ragdoll cancel, they can punish you super easily, so you can only use this trick once they've used their ragdoll. High B tier. Uplift Hunter's Grasp is a very quick and easy tech to use. It makes you immediately use Hunter's Grasp after the uplift, and is a lot harder to react to than the normal uppercut. This can also be inescapable if you have 50 ping, and if your opponent has 100. However, if your ping is decent, you can easily escape and punish this tech. High B tier. This flowing waterfront dash extender is what I would call a risky tech. It's hard to pull off consistently, and when you actually manage to pull it off, your opponent can sometimes still hold block. Your opponent can also punish you really easily if you take too long with the front dash. However, if not landed, you will still create a good amount of space between you and your opponent. B tier. Lethal to flowing water is a pretty basic tech. After Lethal Whirlwind, you immediately press space and use flowing water. It's basically Kyoto, but easier. Without the jump after Lethal Whirlwind, this tech would be worse than Kyoto combo, since without the jump, the speed to connect both moves is not as quick as Kyoto. But with the jump, you almost instantly connect your flowing water, making it much faster than Kyoto. This move can sometimes be hard to react to and can easily catch people off guard. Backdash emote cancel is a very hard and flashy tech that makes you backdash cancel and continue your M1S. This tech isn't necessary, but if you've mastered this tech, which is extremely hard, it still isn't as efficient as the normal backdash cancel. This would only be used for style. C tier. 3M1 shove uppercut is a very interesting one. If your opponent has low ping, this tech will be really hard to execute. However, if your opponent has high ping, you can easily do this on them. You can extend this tech with an uppercut, acting as a small extender. This tech provides very little damage, is extremely ping-based, not allowing you to extend off of your M1 seconds. Instant lethal dash is an insane tech. Not only is it extremely unpunishable, it's basically a near instant lethal loop dash. You can easily catch your opponents off guard. It's also even faster than lethal to Hunter's Grasp. You can save your hunter's grasp after the instant dash, allowing for the easiest one-shot combo of your life. However, this tech is very hard to execute above 120 milliseconds. S tier. Lethal loop dash is basically the slower version of the instant lethal dash. It's more punishable and way more easier to react to. B tier. 2M1 Shove is the most iconic tech in the game. It's the main foundation for Saitama combos and can help do easy damage. This tech is actually extremely overpowered, since you can make an inescapable 75% combo with it, which is actually insane. However, this tech can sometimes be very inconsistent depending on your opponent's ping. High A tier. This one might be a bit controversial. Kyoto combo is a very famous combo that is used everywhere. Public servers, tournaments, duels, and YouTube videos. This combo has many better variants, such as lethal to flowing, flowing water to hunter's grasp, and lethal to hunter's grasp. These are all variants that are much better than the default Kyoto. Kyoto is also very easy to punish, so only use it if they've used Ragdoll. I'll usually only use the combo for style. Mid C tier. The loop dash is one of the first OG techs. This can be used on every character, making it a very versatile tech. This is what made one-shot combos possible back then. High A tier. Super tech. I'm going to be completely honest. The super tech is pretty overtaken. Not only is it impractical and hard to pull off consistently, it's also heavily ping-based. Have you ever seen someone consistently use super tech on you in a real fight? Rarely, right? That's because super tech is not for actual fights, and are usually for combo showcases and montages. There are plenty of better options, such as instant uppercut and loop dash. However, if you're on higher ping, this tech might be a little easier. Samdak tech. I've actually covered this tech 2 videos ago, so check it out for yourself. This tech is actually pretty good, but there are a few things you have to take note of. When M1ing your opponent, you don't want to move at all. This is so your opponent doesn't move their camera too much. On the 4th M1, that's when you slowly approach their shoulder and hold W. One major setback is your opponent moving their camera, which essentially prevents the tech from being executed, since it only works when you're facing the shoulder. However, the strategy I just taught you makes it a lot better. This is the finalized tier list. I've added the techs I've already discussed many times in my past videos, so I'm assuming I won't need to explain. I also left out the irrelevant techs, since most of them are patched and are pretty unknown. If you're a beginner, I highly suggest learning lethal to flowing water, consecutive down slam, 3M1 blitz shot extend, no end lag front dash, and 2M1 shove front dash. If you're more on the advanced side, I suggest learning true down slam, instant uppercut dash, back dash cancel, instant twisted stun lock front dash, and early uppercut catch.